The moral dilemma with the new CCPA Act in California is based on the idea that companies are not providing customers with the proper information when that information is being requested. But based on rule utilitarianism, these companies require more time to get adjusted to the new laws and regulations, which will ultimately provide users with their data in a more readable and accessible manner, thus showing the good outweighs the bad and does not make this an unethical situation. The CCPA allows people to ask companies to show the exact data they've collected on them and instruct them to either not sell the data or delete the data overall. For example, Uber takes customers' information such as drivers' ratings people give drivers, the customer or the credit card customers use, the location and time of the requested ride, etc. Right, but from this new law created, Uber has revealed the customers' ratings, but not disclosed certain calls, certain ratings of drivers specifically, etc. So this in turn kind of shows this variance among data that the companies will actually disclose with customers. So when it comes to a taxonomy and to privacy, there's a good example where it talks about activities that are generally privacy violations, and it says despite promising not to sell the personal information to others, the company still does so. So I bring this up because it's the point of this new law is so companies do not do this, right? And do not they have the ability, the customers have the ability to request for these companies to release this data or delete it overall. So with rule utilitarianism, we measure the good and the bad in the situation and base its ethicality on if the good outweighs the bad or vice versa, right? So from what I gathered, it seems as though companies are beginning to take the law seriously and disclose more information to users who request it. The downside is with Uber, where they won't disclose certain aspects of data, based on security measures and whatnot. But not all companies are doing this, right? It really varies based on the size and the representation of the company in question. But I think that as the CCPA continues to be brought up in question, the more strict and detailed it becomes, the easier it'll be for consumers to get all the requested data. As another example from the articles, it talks about how Twitter sends users a file in the form of a JavaScript, which can be hard for a lot of people to understand and open. But as a spokesperson from the company said, they're working on different ways to improve the download experience, which is a really good example of how companies are working to improve their compliance with this new law and keep their customers happy. So I bring all of this together to say that the situation is ethical overall, right? The companies are not trying to hurt the customers by not disclosing all the information, but rather protect them as themselves as the CCPA continues to improve and used more effectively. As for the format in which customers are receiving the information, I believe that because the CCPA is still developing early on, the companies will continue to improve how they give out this information, just like with Twitter. So overall, because the situation has more good outlooks than bad outlooks, in my eyes, I say it's ethical.